If you're wondering what you're looking at, these are special exercises that are designed to strengthen your abdominal muscles for Oriental-style breathing techniques. You have tuned in to Alternative Healthcare Choices and You. I'm Dave Sollers, licensed acupuncturist and homeopath, and I'm welcoming you to our show. So please stay tuned. We welcome to our show today Ramel, who will show us Chinese Oriental breathing techniques. So we'll see you right back. Welcome back to Alternative Healthcare Choices and You. I'm Dave Sollers, and we welcome Ramel to the show. Thank you for joining us, Ramel.
Thank you.
And today we're going to do some breathing exercises, showing us how to get control of our breathing for health and strength.
Yeah, we're going to learn how to increase our lung capacity using Eastern arts and integrating abdominal movements and back muscles movement in order to massage the organs. Since in the Chinese arts and medicine, the organs are the most important part in our body, so breathing is a part of dealing also with the organs. So you increase your lung capacity, but at the same time, you create movements and you learn how to self-massage your organs, increase blood flow, energy flow, and motion throughout the organs.
Now, why are they not massaged in just our daily activities that we have, going to work or doing something like this?
We have a tendency to use the outer layers muscles. So by doing those specific exercises, you learn how to have control all the way deep into the organs. And also you have the combination of mind, which is one big factor in the Chinese arts. So you put your mind on the muscles that tense and relax, and you sense them and feel which organ is being massaged. So it's a combination really of body and mind. And during the day when you do things, your mind is elsewhere. And even though the muscles are moving, it's not, you don't get the 100% benefit out of the exercise. Not to say that it's true. People that work with their hands influence certain organs in their body, and people that walk more influence other organs. But we're trying to get more out of the same time we spend for either to prevent diseases or to deal with diseases.
And this is something that's been handed down for generations, centuries and centuries, exercises that have been used in China and the East.
Yes, this is exercise that were passed down from one master to the other, and that's why in some ways you cannot do it with a Walkman.
Right. Okay, can you show me one of these exercises?
The first basic exercise that I will recommend to most people is to learn how to reuse more of their lungs. We have a tendency, when you ask a person to breathe deep, it's called shallow breathing. We have a tendency to put air into the upper part of the lungs and front. A lot of people forgot how to use the lower part of your lungs and the back part of your lungs. So in order to do that, you need to go and start re-teach your body how to do that. And we call that going back to childhood. So the first thing is, and you can do that with a partner because that really helps, because now you're dealing with very small movements.
Okay.
So what you do is, you and your partner, you divide the area in your lung area into three. So the bottom part, where your floating ribs are, the middle part, underneath, or on top of that part, and the top part over your chest. And what you try to do is, the first thing, you try to put air or bring air into the lower part of your lungs.
Now, how do you do that? If we don't consciously breathe that way, how do you do that?
We do consciously breathe that way, but we lost, because the muscle tense around the ribs and shrink, the amount of air that goes in gets stuck, and you have a small lung capacity. So like swimmers and runners, because they use the lungs more, if you do cardiovascular actions with the lungs, the muscles expand and you have more air capacity.
So are we trying to isolate something that we normally just goes along with the rest of it? Because if we isolate it, it actually brings to that area more specific benefits?
What we're
Is
trying
that
to
what's
do
happening?
is we're trying to learn how to isolate the groups of muscles
Mm-hmm.
and tensing parts of them in order to, and relaxing other parts in order for the air to expand only in the lung, in the part of the lungs that we choose. Since the lung is like a balloon, and when you put air, the whole lung expands, you need to control the expansion of the air of the lungs with isolating the muscles. So for example, you feel that there is a little tension in the muscles here when I want to put air only into the bottom part.
Yes.
And part of it is learning how to control your muscle, isolate them, control them, and then work with the air.
Okay.
So at home, people can pair up, who can do it by themselves. So you put your hand on the lower part of the ribs, or I'll do it now.
Okay.
And then I try to, and then I'll try to, by putting my hands there, my palm there, first of all, the heat from my hand will help you, will penetrate and will tell you, hey, Dave, that's where you want to work.
Mm-hmm.
And the second thing, I'll put a little pressure, just very gentle pressure to tell you, try to move that area. And then you'll try to put air into this area. And then you'll exhale and inhale and inhale, exhale, and so on. And slowly, slowly, you'll gain more and more movement in that area.
And there's
then
some more control.
and more control.
Over that
Then you
area.
go to the second part, and eventually the third part, and then eventually you eliminate 1, 2, and 3, and it becomes just a smooth inhalation, and the end of inhalation is the beginning of exhalation, and the end of exhalation is the beginning of inhalation. So you want to work with 80% effort, so you leave space again, and you create inhalation and exhalation, but not to the maximum inhalation and not to the maximum exhalation.
And what will this eventually give us? What are some of the health benefits that we can experience by learning to breathe this way?
The first thing, you're going to create more supply, you're going to supply oxygen to the rest of the body. The second thing, the diaphragm will move a little bit lower and will massage, change the pressure within the organs, and will keep massaging the organ. And of course, the alignment of the, you'll create space for other bones and muscles to sit around a correct posture. If your lungs slowly, you lose the range of motion in your lungs, or the lung capacity, the rest of the body shrinks. And then you start to create neck problems, you start to have back problems, you start to have digestive problems. So it's a combination of posture from the outside and internal work from the inside. So you help the muscle grow in length and strength from both from the outside and from the inside. This is work that is done from the inside. The next thing we would like to do, since it's not only working with the lungs, is notice the diaphragm when it moves up and down.
Yes.
And then what we want to do is coordinate the breathing with abdominal muscles. A lot of people get confused and they think that the breathing is connected to the abdominal muscle. In some ways, we choose to move the abdominal muscles. I can inhale, hold my breath, and still move the abdominal muscles.
That's fantastic. There's quite a bit of movement. Just
Yeah.
like you were showing with those quarters, that you have
Exactly.
control and strength.
Exactly. So it's not just about movement, but it's movement with strength. That's how the Tai Chi is actually, it's a martial art, but it's also for health. By moving the abdominal muscles, you keep massaging your organs over and over. Just think of the benefit that your organs get. If everybody likes to be massaged, think of your organs, how would they feel if they're being massaged all day?
And again, the benefits of bringing that kind of circulation and that massage to
blood.
these organs.
Blood circulation
Yeah.
improves, energy circulations improve, the movement burns fat, the friction, and not only that, you, on an energy level, from the Eastern point of view, this area is considered the dantian, which is the ocean of energy. That's where you accumulate a lot of energy, and by moving the muscles, every time a muscle tenses, it builds energy. Every time it relaxes, release energy. On top of that, you put your mind in the center, between the 2 inches below the navel and the kidney area, and you lead that energy into the center, which is where is the dantian. So a lot of time when you see the big structures or sculptures of Buddha with a fat stomach, that's not from food. That's from energy that is accumulated and stored here.
I'm
So
going
in
to
the
remember
East,
that.
yeah. So in the East, strength is not measured here. People say, I am strong.
Strong
here.
there.
Because most deaths occur from one of the organs malfunction, not from arm malfunction. So that's why strength is measured here more than anything.
Many of the lifestyle habits that we've got here actually injure our low back. There's so many low back injuries. If you just watch television, you'll see so many ads for things that have to do with constipation, diarrhea, hemorrhoids, that all have to do with these organs that you're talking about.
Exactly.
So are these potential benefits in learning these exercises?
I'm sorry. Those are potential benefits, but not only that. For example, I worked with this kind of exercise with a group of pregnant women, and by training the abdominal muscles and increasing lung capacity when they were giving birth, it was much easier for them, and it was a much more nicer experience. And the reason for that is because part of breathing in the Eastern arts is also learning how to control the back muscles. And this is a little bit a harder part of the exercise, because it's for some people it's easy to move the front, but it's hard to move the back. And that's another thing we're trying to achieve, is movement in the back and front. Now let's go a little bit back there, because I know that what I'm saying, some people will say, oh, I cannot move the abdominal muscles, or I cannot put air into the first part, second part right away. So there is different methods that will help you do that. For example, if you want to learn how to put air into the bottom part, you want to stick that part of the lung out more, and by doing it, like you're putting it on a plate, and it's easier to feel the air going into that part.
Just as when you put your hands on my ribs, you could feel it, and that helped you isolate it and understand it and use your mind to isolate those muscles?
Exactly. So that's one way, is with a partner, but if you're on your own, you can take something like this, or sometimes I use a broomstick and put a blanket over it, and you lie and you sit here, and you put your back on it. You want to do it, or you want me to do it?
I'm here for you. You want me to sit?
So sit on the floor.
Sit on the floor.
And then you lie, and you put your palm beside the body, a little bit down, and you let your leg go down. Now, people with lower back problem will need to raise their leg in 90-degree angle and put it on a chair. So do you feel comfortable in your back?
Yes.
Okay. So now, as you can see, the lungs are stuck out, or you emphasize the front part.
Yes.
And then you can start inhaling into the front, into the lower part of the lungs.
Like here?
Yes. And then exhale. And that will help you learn how to bring air into the bottom part of the lungs. Okay. The other thing is, you need to inhale, exhale through the nose. Okay. Or if worse comes to worse, you exhale only through the mouth. So my yoga teacher used to say, the BKS Iyengar says, if you want to change it, you can inhale from your mouth and eat from your nose. But if you don't, inhale from your nose and eat from your mouth. So so that's another way to emphasize it, the front part of the lungs. Now we want to also emphasize the back part of the lungs, but before that, we also want to learn how to move the abdominal muscle. So another method of doing that, helping strengthen those muscles, is putting some weight on the abdominal muscles.
And this is 300 pounds that you're placing on here?
No, this is about 4 pounds probably. And then you move the block up and down.
With breathing?
With coordinating the abdominal muscles with the breathing. And this will strengthen the abdominal muscles. Excellent. So you do that about 2-3 minutes a day at first. And of course, always listen to your body, and 80% effort. That's the key tricks. 80% effort.
Because
because if you do 100% and you push your stomach to 100%, what you do, you're putting pressure on your nervous system. What you do, you're tensing your breath. What you do, you're frying your mind, kind of. In metaphor, as a metaphor, you're frying your mind. It's too intense. You want to still be calm. You want to have a mind that you can still be peaceful and quiet and feel relaxed.
And as you and I have talked before, these exercises are meant to be done with quieting your mind, coordinating your breath, balancing your body, all of these techniques at once.
Exactly. So it's a combination of body, breathing, mind, energy, and spirit, and 80% effort. Now, let's go now to the back a little bit. So now what you can do is you turn
Okay.
and you go into what they call sometimes as a child pose or embryo, and you sit on your knees and you put your elbows and the forehead on a pillow again, or the block, and that will put out the back part of the lungs.
So that you can
So you
emphasize
can
that and feel it.
emphasize the back part. Now the problem is sometimes people cannot sit like this because of the knee problem.
Yes.
So then what you can do is you can take something like a block, and then you can put it underneath. Let me move this out of the way. You can put it underneath and then sit on it. And that will take pressure off the knees. So that's back to regulating the body in order to help regulating the breathing. And then you can do this and emphasize the back part of the lungs. Or you can even do standing up and leaning against the wall and arching your back like this, bowing your back, and then breathing into the back part of the lungs. So there's a few methods to reach those parts of your lungs and to learn how to bring air there.
And this is very comfortable when you're sitting on this block. This feels very comfortable for you.
Yeah, I would say that
It takes 80%. You can use 80%.
exactly. If I can sit on the floor, so if I sit on the block, that gives me the 80%
That's fine.
that we're looking for.
Some of the things that I'm seeing here look like a combination of, there's some yoga, there's also some Eastern arts. You mentioned Tai Chi before. What do you bring to your work, and how did you actually put that together?
Well, I started when I was very young, and actually I was forced into the field. I was 16 and I had a lot of digestive problems, and I had neck problems. And as a teenager, running out and playing with the kids and having so many medical problems, that was a real issue for me. And I went to many doctors and nobody really solved that problem. What it was eventually, and it was discovered by an Eastern doctor, it was my muscles were just weak, and my postures, my alignment in the bones was wrong, so I created pressure in different parts of the body, and I was off alignment. And I just kept getting those spasms in the muscles. So what he taught me is how to stretch correctly and how to move certain areas, isolate them. And then he introduced me to a friend of him, and he said, that doesn't end right here. What you need to do is keep doing Tai Chi for the rest of your life.
Now Tai Chi
and that was in Jerusalem, Israel.
And that's where you're from.
That's where I'm from.
Yes.
And Tai Chi is a combination, again, Tai Chi, the meaning of it, the simple meaning is grand ultimate or field of elixir. So what you're trying to do is find that field of elixir within your body. Or you reach the grand ultimate fist, which is a martial art. So it's both health and martial art. And I started doing the Tai Chi, and after 3 or 4 years of doing it with my first teacher, he said to me that if I really want to find a real teacher, I need to find one of those Chinese masters that learned for 20 years in China or whatever, and are willing to teach. I looked for that master, and for my happiness, I found Dr. Yang Jwing-Ming, which is in Boston. I came here in 1983 to study with him, and I thought that I'll be here 2-3 years, and 15 years later, I'm still here studying with him.
There's quite a bit to learn from him. He's
yeah.
got quite a deep knowledge of things.
Exactly.
Yes.
And one of my first goals were dealing with my health problems. That was when I was a teenager. Then it became that I wanted to learn how to fight and compete, and then I started competing, fighting, and got some gold medals in North America in Tai Chi, got some gold medals in China. I was live on national TV in China, and that was until I was about 25. When I reached the age of 25, I started trying to apply the principles of Tai Chi, Kung Fu, and yoga to help the elderly, to help people with specific problems or diseases. And by using those principles, simplifying them, and trying to apply them, I try to help them with those problems. Nowadays, what I try to do is try to strengthen the immune system using those principles. So what I do, I try to work with cancer patients. And I found out I don't have a lot of experience. I have maybe only 10 patients altogether that I worked with. But especially the lymph cancer, we found out that by working through the body and breathing and mind, some of them were able to get off chemotherapy and be stronger while they're going through chemotherapy, and actually get rid of some of the cancer cells. Cancer, you can never. I learned to never to say that they cured the cancer, but they got rid of it temporarily at least. Because
it's in remission.
It is a remission thing.
This is not a new thing. There are a lot of people, as you know, that have been using Tai Chi and meditation and spirit-mind-body connection to help strengthen the immune system for many things, including what you're talking about with cancer. So there's quite a bit of people that are doing this, and you're one of the leading ones in this area.
Yeah, what I try to do is work on those levels, physical and mental. Are you interested in doing something mental, for example? So just to show that breathing in the Eastern arts doesn't end on a physical level. What we do is also, this is, for example, is called skin, bone, marrow breathing. Skin, bone, marrow breathing. So you do need a little imagination at first, or you can have somebody help you. Because some people, when I say put your mind in the bones, or put your mind out away from your body, they look at me and say, what does that mean? So usually what I say is, put your mind where I'm at now. So you're thinking of me. That means you're putting your mind 3 feet or 4 feet away from your body. Now, put your mind on my hand. That means your mind is now at your skin. And if I could have put my finger, which I could, but I'm not going to do it today, through your skin and touch a bone.
Thank you.
That will mean that now when you feel the bone there, that's putting your mind at the bone. So of course, when somebody touches you, it's much easier to feel those areas and to relate to that exercise.
Right.
But with training and more practice, eventually you can do that without the touch.
It's a way of focusing your mind, focusing your intention.
Exactly.
And then focusing your energies on specific exercises or specific functions that you want to happen inside or even outside of your body, I imagine.
And you know, and eventually your mind is out, it can be away from the body or within the body. So the exercise goes like this. What you're trying to do is when you inhale, you try to bring from the outside your mind through the skin, through the muscles, into the bones. So if you can picture your skeleton, and then you bring it into the bones, and then when you exhale, you bring the mind away from the bones, out all the way 3 feet away from the bones, away from the skin. And this is called skin, bone, marrow breathing. So you inhale, on inhalation you bring your mind through the pulse of the skin into the bones, and you collect all the impurity from the bones, and on exhalation you send it out away from the body.
There were some exercises that you showed me before we started with you were doing these. Some of these kinds of exercises that you were doing, can we do those and practice this kind of breathing?
For breathing?
Yes.
Yes. So for example, those exercises are designed to train your mind to reach that stage that you can bring it far away from you or bring it deep into your bones. So it also trains your mind to think very big and to focus into a very small area. So for example, there's an exercise that is to clean the body. So what you do, the motions are very simple, but the mental part is a little bit harder. So what we do is we just make a circle like this.
All right, I can do that?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
And we're going to coordinate what we talked from the beginning. So we're going to coordinate 1, 2, and 3 pieces of the lungs, or if you're a beginner, just 1, with abdominal muscles. So when we inhale, we move the abdominal in or out. It doesn't matter. You can move either way. And when you exhale, the abdomen will move out or in. It doesn't matter. You can choose what to do with the abdominal muscles while you inhale.
Okay, let's do it.
And then, so you're going to inhale and exhale. In. So that's on a physical level. Now we'll go into the mental part. When you inhale, you bring your mind into deep into the bones. And then when you exhale, you send all the impurity from the center of the palms and the top of the head far, far away to the stars. If you can feel your mind up there in the universe, in the stars. And then, again, deep into the bones, you bring your mind. Inhalation helps your mind go into the bones.
Mm-hmm.
And all the impurity from the bones far, far away to the universe.
Mm.
Remember one thing, it's very important that I found out from experience, you need to have balance between the mental and the physical. There's groups of people that emphasize only the mental, and there's groups of people that emphasize only the physical. I'm sure that each one of those groups benefit helping people because it is a helping tools, but you need to have balance between the two, and that's the symbol of yin and yang.
The things that I've seen when I do these exercises is that as an acupuncturist, I know what chi feels like, because in acupuncture we use that energy in the body to stimulate healing. When I've done these exercises, I've felt very similar things. Tingling, warmth, you feel this flow of blood that goes down into your body. What do you feel when you do these exercises?
Well, the first thing that I work with is the thought of that our mind is very powerful.
Mm.
And our mind is able to do many things that we don't even know of. So my first feeling is that if I have this machine or computer or mind that is able to do so much, and I can only do that much, why not try to increase my
increase what we can do.
what I can do? So that's where beliefs come in, faith, and using the mind for healing. So a lot of people just go to the doctor and say, okay, heal me. But I say, at the same time, why don't you also try to use your mind to heal yourself? But in order to use the mind, you need to have deep, peaceful breathing, because only then the mind is peaceful. So in order to have a peaceful mind, you have to have a smooth, deep, peaceful, long breathing. And that's a very important tool. I call this the flying carpet, because this tool leads the mind to wherever you want to go with it. So the key thing is to use the mind, but in order to use the mind is to create the environment for the mind to function the best way possible, is to first increase your lung capacity and learn how to relax the rest of the body, so the mind will have the opportunity to do whatever it can do, if it can do it.
So it sounds like the training that's involved is we need to have some fundamental understanding of how our body works and train it and be able to isolate it to do the functions that we need to do, and then understanding of how to utilize our minds and focus our minds so that we can combine those two to get the health benefits that you're talking about.
Yes,
and
to get a stronger flow of energy, because it's the mind that leads the energy. So if you get a stronger mind, you can have a stronger flow of energy. But that's from the Eastern point of view. From the Western point of view, even just simply using the mind as a healing tool. And when we talk about breathing, again, there is balance within just the inhalation and exhalation. So you want to have balance between inhalation and exhalation. And you also want to have balance between, you don't want to inhale too strong and you don't want to inhale too weak. So you want to find a path for the air to go through the nose without hitting the walls of your nostrils, and smoothly going in and reaching the lungs and smoothly coming out. So you're not also, you behave in a gentle way with the cells along the path of the air, and you don't behave violently with it.
Well, in a society where we often tend to go overboard in so many different ways, these seem like exercises that we could use to create a little harmony out of some of the disharmony and imbalance that are inherent in some of our lifestyles.
Exactly.
So
I mean, breathing is a very strong tool for relaxation. A lot of people nowadays have stress problems from overworking, from financial problems, for just day-to-day problems that they stumble. And the breathing is an excellent tool to deal with those problems. Of course, aligning bones and strengthening and stretching is also very important. But mind and breathing is very important exercises to do to reduce stress, to increase flow of oxygen and blood and energy throughout the body, or even away from the body.
Well, I want to thank you very much for joining us on the show today, Rami. It's been a pleasure to have you, and I'm sure the audience has enjoyed beginning to understand what some of these breathing exercises can do for us. How can we find you if someone would like to contact you?
Well, there's, at the end of the credits, first of all, you'll see my website, which is ramelrones.com, or there's a telephone number that you can contact me. I also run seminars on a regular basis in Andover at the YMAA Martial Arts School, and also in the Boston area. And so
There you are.
There I am.
Well, perhaps we could end the show by doing some of the breathing exercises that you were showing me before. Some of these exercises, or perhaps some of these that we could do here.
Yeah, let's do one now that you nourish the body. First we clean the body, and now we're going to try to nourish the body. So again, remember that you want to try to coordinate the breathing into the 3 parts of the lungs, or 1 if you're a beginner, with abdominal movements and mind exercise. So you're going to inhale and move the abdominal in at the same time, and you're going to send your mind far, far away to the stars, and you bring all the pure energy, and you lead it through the top of the head, and you scan the body, plateau by plateau, and you feed it with this feeling.
Great.
And then again,
And just over and over again.
up, send your mind far to the stars, bring all the pure energy, and put it through the head, the byway, which is the heavenly gate, the top of the head, and down through the body. Some
Great.
people can also go to the forests and the oceans, sky and the stars, and collect all this energy and bring it and nourish your own energy through the top of the head.
Great. Well, thank you again, Rami.
Thank you.
And thank you.